Good morning, Julian.
Good morning, Steve. How are you?
Well, I'm great, thank you. First of all, let me just ask the question, how is Kat today?
Yes, she's not too bad. It's a bit of a roller coaster, as we say, with her health. We wake up each day waiting to see what it throws at us, but she's not too bad this morning. Thanks for asking.
Okay, well, we'll talk about CatFest, which is the little festival that you set up in a couple of weeks' time. But today, I want to talk to you about an initiative which, when I read about it, I thought, wow, this sounds amazing. You've been collecting guitars and getting famous people to sign them in order that you can either raffle them off or auction them off to raise money for cancer charities. So tell me how the idea came about and how good progress you've made so far.
Okay, well, a pal of mine donated a guitar for CatFest a few years ago, and somebody else then said, why don't you try and get it signed by somebody famous, it's from the music world, because that'll enhance the value. And through a friend of a friend, I managed to get Brian May to agree to sign it. So we were off to a flying start with this very first guitar signed by a legend in the form of Brian May. And then the sort of seed of the idea grew from there. Why don't we try and get some more guitars? Why don't we try and expand the project and get more people to sign it? Because the more guitars and the more signatures, the more money we raise. And here we sit now, just about 3 years later from the start of the project, and we've had 142 signings, and from people like Brian May to Lulu, the Stereophonics, Mel C, Roy Wood, Bruce Welch of the Shadows, Bonnie Tyler, you name it. I've been to meet these people, and they've all been lovely. By definition, the fact they agree to sign, you can tell they're decent human beings. They want to support the project, and it's been a real labour of love.
Julian, did you say 142 guitars, not signatures, guitars?
No, I'm sorry. No, 142 signatures on a series of guitars.
I was wondering whether you'd have kept them all.
Well, that's right. Well, we've got plenty, I have to say. I think we've got about. I think I've got about 15 or 18 stashed at home. We've sold a few, and we've got a few that are now sort of genres. So we've got a punk new wave guitar. We've got a 60. In fact, we've got two 60s guitars, a couple of 70s guitars. So when I get agreement from somebody, I think, well, which guitar is most suited to them, and then take that guitar along. I must admit, I wish I'd chosen something like 7-inch singles rather than guitars to get signed. But there we are. It is what it is. But great fun, and I've met some fantastic people and got some amazing stories. Every one of the signings has got a story behind it, really. So it's been great.
I do like the expression "a friend of a friend" sometimes, which leads to Brian May. Who would have thought that maybe 10 years ago, when you were just a mere announcer at Luton Town Football Club and a lover of music, that you'd be telling people on the radio that Brian May had signed a guitar and you'd got possession of it.
Yeah, it's funny how the world works, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, I did ask you to select a piece of music this morning. We're going to come on to that in a moment or two, Julian, but we'll take a little break because we've got to do the travel. And then when the next piece of music's working, you can get your head round telling us the famous signatory on one of the guitars, and we'll play a song by them. Now, Julian, we've been talking about these guitars that you've got signed. I thought you had 142 of them, but you've got 142 famous signatories on them. Mm-hmm. You've already mentioned Brian May. Tell me 5 of the others and how you came about getting the signatures.
Okay, well, the short version of getting the signatures is you approach people via their website. Sometimes you can winkle out an address or a manager's name or what have you. There's a few friends of friends. Certain of the musicians have put me in contact with other people because I've managed to sort of build a rapport and a decent relationship with somebody in the music world who then says, well, I'll get so-and-so to do that. So, for example, Bevan of ELO, he and I have kept in touch, and he's introduced me to Tony Iommi of Black Sabbath and one or two other people. So that's been good. But the top 5, Steve, very briefly, Nick Hayward and Carol Decker, which was a double header. I met them in a coffee shop. We had a lot of laughs and swapping soup recipes and all sorts of things.
Whoa, Julian, hang on. Not everybody can say, I went into a coffee shop and lo and behold, Carol Decker and Julian and Nick Hayward were there. Were they doing sort of Tapau Haircut 100 thing?
Yeah, well, no, it was me teeing up 2 meetings. They happen to live near each other and they know each other. And I said, well, why don't we all meet and I'll buy you a coffee? And so we, as I say, we did bizarre things about swapping soup recipes. But and I take a photograph. Obviously, I'm it's nice to get a photographic memory of all these meetings. And my favourite photograph of the whole project is me with Nick Hayward and Carol Decker photobombing us in between. It's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, it's on the website somewhere, so if your listeners want to check that out, it's great fun. So that was number 5. Number 4 was Tom Robinson. Met him at the BBC, and he took the guitar, signed it, and then played an impromptu acoustic version of War Baby to me. To me, a couple of security guards, and a pal of mine, Spiz Energy, who did Where's Captain Kirk, who has been another great supporter of our project as well. He's mad as a box of frogs, Spiz, but he's great fun. So that was a concert for 4 of us, 2 security guards, Spiz and me, Tom Robinson doing War Baby. The only time I've been hugely starstruck was The Clash. I met Paul Simonon and Mick Jones at The Clash. I was a massive fan of theirs, and I was almost lost for words, which, as you can tell, isn't something that usually happens to me. And Mick, halfway through the signing, said, "Hang on a minute," disappeared. I thought, "Where's he gone?" And he got me a brand new copy of the 40th anniversary edition of London Calling, all sealed and special edition, which I shall treasure forever. That was number 3. Number 2, Jules Holland's Hootenanny in 2019, where I got the guitar signed by Pauline Black of the Selector and Stereophonics, Rick Astley, Jules himself. That was an amazing night. Just got loads of signatures and had a fantastic time. And my joint top signings are 2 guys from the same band, Dave Hill and Jim Lee of Slade, 2 fabulous guys, 2 of the longest signings as well. I spent about an hour and a quarter with Dave in a hotel having coffee and lots of laughs, and went to Jim Lee's house up in Staffordshire, met him, his wife and his family, and was there nearly 2 hours just talking all things Slade and everything to do with the project. Lovely man and lovely family. So
my big mate memories. Back in the Northwest, Julian, Eric, I don't know whether he's listening this morning. His wife Pauline sometimes listens in, but Eric was the biggest Slade fan in my life. I mean, anywhere we went, we used to joke that Noddy would stick his head round the curtain and say, "Is Eric in yet?" and say, "No, we're not coming on until he gets here." But it's a fantastic band live, absolutely brilliant band.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've got one final song to play this morning. I'm leaving the last word to you. In fact, I dug out War Baby. I'm going to have to play that next week. I really am, because I love that song. But you wanted to mention a particular signatory, and then we'll play a song from him, which I know my good friend Nigel Pawley will enjoy.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, one of them, in fact, several of the people that have signed for us over the last 2 or 3 years have passed away, and just last weekend on my wife's birthday, I got the news to say that one of our signatories, who was a lovely guy and a front man of a band I was a big fan of, I went to his house back in October. I knew he was poorly, which is partly why I supported the project, and he lost his own personal battle to the dreaded disease just last weekend, and so it's only right and proper that I say thank you to him, both for signing and for all the music, and to play this record in his honour. And it's Nicky Tesco of the members, and the record is Sound of the Suburbs.